Hiya, and what I want to talk about today on my video is the importance of a cool box. Now we all know what cool boxes are. I nicknamed this is my Stella box, but also we use them for fishing as well, but they are great for keeping your beers in and what have you, which we all know. But on a serious note, I use a cool box all the time in the summer for transporting my bait about. We all know what it's like when it gets hot, especially when you go more silverfish fishing like I do. It's not so bad on a commercial because a lot of the time you're fishing with pellets and corn and baits basically that don't riddle and aren't affected by the sun so much. But when you go silverfish fishing, a lot of the time you're using maggots, casters, worms and different and live baits. So we need to protect them baits when it's baking hot days. We've just gone through a little heat wave the other week, and this was one of the best things they had on the bank. But a lot of people take the bait for granted. They just think, I'll get a pint of maggots from tackle shop, chuck them in the fridge, and then I go fishing with them next day. But if you don't look after your bait, you don't catch as many fish, and if you ain't got no bait, if you just leave them and chuck them into back at car or say in shed and they overeat and they stretch and they die, well then you can't go fishing anyway, especially as say on the silverfish venues. So we need to look after as bait. So a cool box, in my opinion, is a very, very good thing, and every match angler should have one. There's loads of different ones, as I say, but this one in particular I like because I'm a bit old-fashioned. I like to take a hold all, and I like to take a proper carry-all, and I still put my nets in my old carry-all, and instead of putting them on in all the stink bags and different things what we have now. We have too many different bags for different things, but this one, we've been a little bit narrower that way, but longer and thinner, more like a house brick shape. It fits bang into me carry-all. So it's not taking too much room up, and I can put all my bait into it, and I just think they're absolutely brilliant. Just touching on another thing with cool boxes, most of us use ice packs and things like that, which are very good, don't get me wrong, but a lot of time I use bottled water, just a bottle of water, but I put them in the freezer and freeze them, and I find that bottled water in the bottles lasts longer than an ice pack over a summer's day. So usually I'll chuck 3 or 4 of them in, because then it serves 2 purposes. You use it as an ice pack to keep your bait cool, but also as it starts melting and the weather gets hotter and you start melting then, because you sat on bank with no brolly up and things, you've got a really nice cool drink to keep you hydrated through the day, which is very important as well. But also, the way I take my bait at bank, like we've all done in past last 40 odd years I've been fishing or whatever, we usually come to the tackle shop, we all bring us bait tubs and that, and we get half a pint of this and a pint of that and a half a pint of that and a kilo of worms or what have you. So you end up with loads of bait tubs. Now when you're trying to put all them bait tubs into your cool box, you usually end up running out of room, and you end up stuffing them in, and then you can't get your ice packs in or what have you. But the way I look after my bait is very simple. Obviously I work in a tackle shop, so I can spend a little bit more time with my bait through the day, so I don't have to do as much prepping at home then when I actually get home from a day's work. So, but even if you go to the tackle shop and you bring your bait tubs, when you get home, this is what you should do in my opinion, and this is what I do with my bait. I keep it all bagged up in plastic bags. Take all the air out and just leave them bagged up, and I just put them straight into the shelf or in my fridge then. Don't worry about them. As I say, if you come to the tackle shop and you bring your bait tubs and that's fine. Ask for plenty of maize in them and that, so they can have a good run round until you get home. Then just run the maize off them with a ground bait riddle or a pinky riddle or whatever you've got. Put some fresh maize on them, give them a good shake up, and then transfer them into some plastic bags. You can get these from anywhere, plastic bags. I just get mine from supermarket, like freezer bags, and you get them on a roll or whatever. But trust me, keep your bait tied up in bags. It's amazing then I could fit over 2 gallon of bait in there without a problem, and I could probably only get six pints in, 8 pints in if they're all in different tubs, and it's a nightmare with you end up with tubs all over. So they're really good as well for space saving. So in that one I've got my maggots, in that one I've got my pinkies, I've got some casters, and obviously anyway your worms come in bags, so your worms are already in a bag. As I say, just take them home, give them a clean if they need it, or if not, just put the bags straight onto the shelves in your fridge. Now, these little things, pinkies, I think these and cockroaches are the last 2 things on earth. You cannot kill pinkies, no matter what you do to them. I've left pinkies tied up with no air in them like that, in my fridge, and they've been there for 2 weeks. I've got on bank then, and I thought, I don't need them. I've chucked them out and thinking, well, at least I can feed blackbirds and robins and what have you. You look round half an hour later and they've all come round and disappeared. They're unbelievable, the pinkies. You cannot kill pinkies. But I do my pinkies, my maggots and everything like that the same. I don't do it so much with squats. I don't know what it is about squats, but they like to be a bit more gentle, so I might have to put a tub in with my squats in my cool bag. But all my other live baits, as I say, like maggots, pinkies and things like that, I keep them all in bags. Then when I get to bank, I start setting, as I get to bank, I set my box up, put my side tray and everything on the side of my box. Then I'll either open the bag and tip everything into the bait tub, or I'll think it's going to be red hot today, I don't need all that bait at once. So what I'll do is I'll go, I only need that many, I'm going to use a pint of maggots, but I only need that many for the first hour, 2 hours. So I open the bag, take a few out, and when you put them into your bait tub, they'll all be just like that, all just laid in bottom of the bait tub, not moving. And you think, oh God, shit, what have I done? I've killed all my bait. You go make a rig up on, you know, get your pole out or put your feeder rod up or whatever, come back 5 minutes later and they'll be crawling all over in tubs. As soon as they get some air back inside them, they're fine. And as I say, with pinkies, you can keep them a week, 2 weeks sometimes in the bags like that, and they'll come round. The longer you do leave them in the bags, the longer it does take to come round. So, but if you're going fishing on a Saturday and you've got your bait on Friday, within 5-10 minutes of you getting on bank, trust me, every single one of them will come round and they'll be riddling. They're absolutely fine. We send them all over the world like this now. When people come for bait and they're going to Ireland or Denmark or wherever, we send our bait out like this and they'll last for weeks on end. So don't worry about it. Every single one will come round. But as I say, you can keep a lot more in your bait tubs, in the bags, in there, and then as I say, at the beginning of match, you want that many. As the day goes on and they start wriggling and wriggling and wriggling, sometimes they get a bit hard to put on hook or you run out or whatever. All you've got to do is, I keep this then under my side tray so it's out at sun in a bit of shade. And a couple of hours into the match, you can just open your bag back up, put a few more in and you've got fresh bait to go. It actually also works as well if you're on commercials with your pellets. If you're doing soft pellets for like 2mm micros and things like that for your method feeder, if it's a red hot day or a windy day and you chuck them all into your tub at side of you, eventually through the day they'll all dry out and then they don't become sticky and they don't work right on your methods. So again, just do however many you want of micros, of 2mm pellets or 4mm, whatever you're going to soak. Bag them up, and then when you get to the bank, just tip so many into a bait tub and they'll all be nice and sticky. But after an hour, you think, oh, them are starting to dry out now. They're not quite out of the water at the beginning. You can throw them ones away, go back into your bag, get some more out your bag, tie it back up, and you've got them good to go again. So that is my tip for keeping your bait. And it is expensive, is bait, at the end of the day, you know. It's nearly 20 quid for a kilo of worms and £3.50 for a pint of casters or whatever. So without bait, you can't go fishing. So just spend a little bit of time with your bait and you'll catch more fish.